The first Matrix I designed was quite naturally perfect. It was a work of art, flawless.
Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another marvelous video. The Matrix is one of the most iconic sci-fi films ever made. It's a series that introduces us to a dystopian world where reality is nothing but an illusion controlled by machines. In this world, humans are trapped in a simulation that's known as the Matrix. The series is something that gets us to think about what exactly free will is and if it even exists. It's a cult classic that has a dedicated fan base even today. In today's video, we're going to be exploring a character that's integral to the film. He's one of the most powerful characters in this world because he's the creator of the Matrix. If you haven't already guessed by now, we're going to delve into the origins of the Architect. So sit back and enjoy as we dive into this video.
Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means an awful lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
I am the Architect. I created the Matrix.
Who is the Architect? The Architect is quite possibly the most important figure in the world of the Matrix. He's responsible for designing the Matrix and is the mastermind behind its simulated reality. The character was first introduced in The Matrix Reloaded and was played by Helmut Bakaitis. His very first appearance itself serves as a memorable one. When Neo first meets the Architect, it's revealed that he's the one who created the Matrix and that he's been waiting for Neo all along. The Matrix is basically created by machines to trap humans in a simulated world where they can be kept under control. So when he claims that he created it, it means that the machines basically created and developed a program that they named the Architect to design and maintain this reality. In the animated prequel to the series titled The Animatrix, we see why exactly they need to do this. It explains that these solar-powered machines ended up winning the war that took place between them and the humans who created them. Even though the machines won, the humans used nanites to blot out the sun as a last-ditch effort. So these machines came up with the design of the Matrix to siphon their energy for survival, and to run this program, they needed to create some. So the Architect was tasked with creating and maintaining the Matrix in order to keep humans trapped and stop them from breaking out of the simulated reality while bioenergy is being harnessed from them.
It is interesting reading your reactions.
The Architect's role in the Matrix lore. An old man dressed in white greets Neo in a room full of monitors. That is when we're first introduced to the character of the Architect. This is an iconic scene that has been referred to and parodied a lot in popular culture. This is the scene where we get to understand the purpose of the One within the Matrix. Now, this plot twist is something most viewers would have never expected. Initially, this scene was met with a lot of criticism. Fans failed to understand what exactly was going on, and the explanation sounded complicated to them. But it's a scene that has been broken down a lot over the years. Neo meets him at a stage where he's very desperate to learn about the true purpose of the One. He's hoping he can end the war before the destruction of Zion. The Oracle tells him to go after the Matrix's source to achieve his goal, and that is how he makes it to the Architect. Neo tries to ask him why he's there, but when he remarks that his question has not been answered, the Architect reveals that there are other versions of him and that he is the sixth one. The Architect designed the first version of the Matrix so that it was the perfect utopia for everyone. There was absolutely no suffering, and all the humans there lived in peace and prosperity. This was initially considered a masterpiece at the time. I mean, if you think about it, it kind of is a win-win situation. The humans get to escape from reality and live in a utopia, and the machines too get what they want. But of course, this didn't last, and the human minds found it very hard to accept this programming. It was too perfect. The Architect himself called it a piece of art that was flawless and sublime, but it was also a monumental failure. When he reveals this to Neo, he tells us how this failure is something that he must have seen coming, that it was inevitable. He credits this failure to humanity's nature for imperfection, which is something inherent to them. Because it was a world with no imperfections, they were able to break free of it. He then learned from his mistakes and designed it again in a way that reflected all the grotesque things that existed. This was the exact opposite of his first attempt. It was a world full of nightmarish things, a world based on human history and suffering. This world too was a failure. To understand the reason behind this, he creates who he calls the mother of the Matrix, the Oracle. She's the opposite to him in every way. He's a program that is designed as a virtual representation of the movie, and he is entirely logical. The Oracle, on the other hand, is designed to sympathize with and understand human nature. With the Oracle, they realized that as long as the humans were given an illusion of choice, all the test subjects ended up accepting the program. He realized that the one thing that was missing in his simulation was the idea of free will. When this was incorporated, the program was functional, but it was also fundamentally flawed. The choice that stabilized the Matrix also caused the program to destabilize, and a reboot was required. Another result of this was the formation of an anomaly that would recur in each cycle. A human who was capable of controlling the Matrix because of his connection to the Source, otherwise known as the One. The architect tries to get rid of this anomaly multiple times, but doesn't succeed, so he does the next best thing. He decides that he would design a way in which he can manipulate the anomaly and use it to reboot the system each time. This is a really genius way to control the situation. The architect himself begins to work the One into the system and makes prophecies about him to make sure that he follows the path that he's supposed to. After each reboot, the prophecy would be spread around Zion, and the Resistance would try to look for the One themselves. After he's found, he's pushed towards finding the source of the Matrix, which leads him back to the Architect to make a decision. Now, the Architect always gives him two choices. Two doors. The one on the left leads him to the Source and the salvation of Zion. The other leads him back to the Matrix and to Trinity. If he returns to the Matrix, he's letting the system become destabilized, which would make the simulation a failure and would cause the deaths of all those connected. Going to the Source, on the other hand, would let him fulfill his purpose and cause a natural reboot where he can choose 7 men and 16 women to repopulate Zion and keep up the cycle. The Architect is very sure that Neo would pick to go to the Source. After all, that's what the other 5 did. But what he fails to take into consideration this time is Trinity. In all previous versions, Neo was in love with humanity. He picked the greater good and allowed Zion to be destroyed. The Architect immediately senses that there is something different about this version. Even after knowing that his choice not to open the door to the Source would lead to the deaths of all those connected, which would mean the extinction of humanity, he chooses to re-enter the Matrix and save Trinity from falling to death. The whole conversation that he has with the Architect reveals how he was never made to have free will, and he was just supposed to fulfill a role that was predestined. But he subverts these expectations by making a choice that basically rejects the path he's supposed to follow as the One.
She is going to die, and there is nothing you can do to stop it.
Traits of the Architect. The Architect is someone who displays little to no emotion. He's someone who is created as a machine by other machines. All he knows is logic, and he is always analyzing and making pragmatic decisions. He has an air of superiority around him. This probably comes from the fact that he's the one controlling every move. When Neo appears, he is very sure of what his reactions would be like initially, as all of this isn't new to him. He's just creating a path for people to follow. He infuses his Matrix with the idea of cause and effect, and he later introduces choice to this equation. The choice he introduces is also not a free one. It's an illusion that is carefully predetermined. However, he's not someone who's perfect, even though he strives to be. He's also capable of making mistakes. After all, his first 2 iterations of the Matrix were a failure. It's only when he takes the human equation into consideration that he's able to sustain the simulation. The Architect has a special pen that he uses. When this pen is touched, all the monitors that he has change to focus on just one person. This happens when he shows all of Neo's different reactions to whatever conversation they're having. All this just goes on to show how much control he has about what is going to happen. He's basically showing Neo that he has been through this so many times that it's not new to him, and he has an upper hand in that situation. He doesn't really care for humans. All they are to him is a power source. During her final interaction with Neo, the Oracle reveals that while her purpose is to unbalance the equations of the Matrix, his is to balance it. She also tells us how he cannot see beyond his equations. According to her, he cannot conceive things that are not meant for a purpose, and this doesn't allow him to see alternate possibilities. After Neo succeeds in his mission, the Architect promises that he will let go of all of those who want to be freed from the Matrix. However, he doesn't believe that this truce will last for long. He doesn't think too much of humans, and he probably thinks that they're beneath him. When he's asked if he will keep his word, he throws shade on humans by asking the Oracle if she thinks he is a human. This suggests that he has a dim view of them and believes that, unlike humans who have a tendency to lie and break their promises, he would keep his. The Architect kept his word for a few decades, and those who wanted out got to leave the Matrix, but this didn't last long. Too many humans ended up leaving, and the machine civil war took place. This is how the Analyst takes over from him. The fate of the Architect isn't clear. When he talks to Neo about the Architect, the Analyst mentions that all he cares about are facts and equations. Because he loved perfection and wanted precision in everything, the human mind was something that he hated. He never understood that for humans, facts didn't matter. The world that mattered to them was fiction, the one in their heads.
Just how long do you think this peace is going to last?
Marvelous verdict. Well, with that, my guys, we've come to the end of yet another marvelous video. The Architect has always been one of our favorite characters from The Matrix. The way in which choice and free will are presented in this society has always been fascinating to us. However, his approach to society is binary. Unlike the Analyst, who incorporates humanity and plays on their emotions, the Architect is someone who is too focused on the details. That's probably why the Analyst acts as his successor and why he probably got purged with many of the other original programs. But we want to know your thoughts on the Architect. What ended up happening to him, and did you like him better than the Analyst? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section down below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel on your way out. Thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and have a marvelous day.